Okay, we are going to be recording a practice session on advanced PowerPoint. And I'm going to start out by sharing my screen. And I'm going to be using a PowerPoint with a lot of screenshots to demonstrate advanced PowerPoint. We will have this PowerPoint available to you out on the Tech Talk website after the presentation. Additionally, I'll have a link to the recording as well as the PowerPoint available on my personal training site, tinyurl.com/LoriTraining. Okay, now as we go through this, you're going to notice some transitions between slides. And while it's not the way that I would recommend, I'm using a different transition between each slide just to demonstrate some of the transitions available to you in PowerPoint 2013. Now, if you're already using PowerPoint 2013, wonderful. But if you're using an older version of Office and would like to upgrade to 2013, you can go to download.clemson.edu and scroll down a little, and you'll find Microsoft Office. And you can either click on 32-bit or 64-bit, depending on your version of Windows, and install it. I would recommend you first go to your control panel in your programs and remove any old versions. And if your software is taken care of for you by a technical support provider, definitely ask them first or ask them about it. But it is available to you. All right. Okay. This is my favorite transition that we're looking at right now, the curtains one. All right. If you open PowerPoint and select the File tab at the top, you'll see New as an option that will show you the templates available to you. Also, the very first time you open PowerPoint, you're going to see a very similar screen. All right, there are lots of beautiful new templates out there, and you can search through those or search online by typing in a topic right there and clicking on that little magnifying glass. There are several other options under File besides New, and one of them is Share. And Present Online is an interesting option here. If you have not heard about this one before, it was out there with a different name in 2010, so it's in 2010 or 2013. It's not new. But if you select Share and Present Online, the first thing it's going to ask you is to log into your Microsoft account. And if you don't have a Microsoft account, I strongly recommend you go ahead and set one up. If you've got Windows 8 home version, you had to have one to get into that. And any version of Windows 8 strongly encourages you to have one, as well as any Microsoft Office 2013 product is frequently going to recommend you have one. It's a great place to store your files in the cloud. But if you click on Present Online, it's going to ask you to log in, and once you've logged in, you will be given a link to send out to the participants in your presentation. So if you send that out to all of the people who are in your presentation, what they'll be able to do is see the slide you're on right now on their own device. It can be a tablet, a phone, a computer. And this is especially helpful if you're in a situation where you have a very large audience and they can't all see the screen very well, or if you don't have a very good screen. I've done some presentations where there were monitors instead of projectors in the room, and the participants found it much easier to be able to look at their own device than to see those little monitors. So Present Online, an incredible option in PowerPoint. By the way, once you email the people the link, there will be a little start presentation. At the end, there'll be a little stop presentation, and then the link will no longer work. Another option on the same list of options is export, and you can certainly export it as your presentation as a PDF, just as you've been able to for a while now. And you can even open that PDF in Microsoft Word and convert it into text and pictures if you'd like. The second option, though, create video. Also not new, but looks a little bit different here. But what is new in 2010 is if you select Create Video, you will have two file formats you can choose from, WMV or MP4. And if you do turn your PowerPoint into a video, you can share it as a video through YouTube or Blackboard, or a multitude of ways. Now, if your presentation has only maybe pictures and text and even transitions, and nothing that's been recorded, like a narration or a video or anything that takes timing, it will default to spending 5 seconds on each slide. So one thing some people will do is put a whole lot of pictures out, maybe a musical background, and display it, and then 5 seconds on each slide. If you have recorded narration, or you put videos or anything that causes timing to happen, it will default to using that timing instead of the 5 seconds. So if you spent 10 seconds narrating the slide, that slide will last 10 seconds. And in the next slide, if you spent 7, that slide will last 7 seconds. So it's pretty smart too. Also on this menu you have options, and one of the options is add-ins. So if you're interested in adding features to your PowerPoint, there are a lot of features available, but one that I particularly like is called Live Web, and what this one will do is let you see a live website on a slide of your presentation. So if you get to that slide, that website will pop up. So you don't have to stop your presentation, minimize it, open a browser window, go to the website, then go back to your presentation. It's seamless. Now, if you're interested in adding Live Web, you can Google it, or I do have it on my website. Now, if you do install Live Web, when you go back into your presentation and click on Insert, you're going to see Web Page as one of the options, and that's right there. In fact, let me get my laser pointer so I can show you. It's right there is the live web page. Now, when you click on that, you're going to be asked for the URL. So I just put www.clemson.edu, and you're going to click Next. And then when you show your presentation, if you put www.clemson.edu like I did, this is what showed up. And while doing the presentation, you can click on Menu, you can search Clemson, you can do Apply Now, you can click on Clemson News or in the headlines or whatever you want. The thing you don't have is you don't have a backup arrow, you don't have a URL line. You'll only see this particular page, but you can certainly go to subpages of that page. All right. Another tab that I'd like to mention now is Design Slide Size. So under Design, you're going to see Slide Size right over here. Now, in earlier versions of PowerPoint, the default size was 4:3, which was the standard projector and monitor size for many years. In the last few years, most of the newer projectors are widescreen, which is a 16:9 proportion. So by default now in PowerPoint 2013, your slides will be 16:9. Now, if you know you're going to be showing this presentation on an older monitor, you can easily switch it back to standard at any time. So widescreen is the default size now. Okay, another feature I'd like to mention is picture formatting. If you insert a picture in your presentation and you click on it, you're going to get Picture Tools and Format, and you've got all these very nice and lots more formats and frames and things you can put on your picture. My favorite two are these two. This one gives you just a little bit of a shadow around your picture, and I use that for this screenshot of picture format. The second one I like a lot is the reflection one, and I use that for this picture of the library, and I added the little reflection in the rounded corners. But check that out. There's lots of nice options there. Something else that's available there, if you've got your picture selected, and I still have my library picture selected, you've had the crop ability where you could crop it into a rectangular shape. But if you click on the little arrow under the crop to shape is a new feature in 2013, and you can pick any one of these shapes. If I wanted my picture of the library to have a heart shape, I could click on the heart. In this particular case, I selected a shape that was round on the right and square on the left. But again, crop to shape, very nice feature. All right, while we're talking about pictures, if you have a picture like I have of this tiger paw that's got a little background on it, and you would like to remove the background and be able to drag it around and see behind it, you can remove that background and make it a transparent background. You used to have to use something like Photoshop or a photo editor to do that, but that works across all of Office. To do that, under your picture tools, you're going to see remove background. And if you click on remove background, you're going to get a dark pink background and some little selection tools. If you drag this little box, this little square box, so that the picture is completely enclosed, so all of the tiger paw is inside the box, and then you click on it, the transparent background will be there. It'll remove your background. So very, very nice feature. While we're talking about pictures, if you have a picture selected, another option is compress pictures, and this is strongly recommended if you're using digital photography or you have a very large file size and you need to email the file or maybe put it on a website for people to download, so you need it to be a little smaller. Now, if you do compress the pictures and use the settings I'm going to recommend, then I have never seen it not make the file very small. But I also cannot tell the difference. It's not like it's going to get grainy or fuzzy. The picture quality, from my eyes, looks so close to the same, I can't tell the difference. Now, the way you do this, after you click on compress pictures, you'll get this screen right here. And this option, apply only to this picture. Make sure you uncheck that if it's checked, because that says, hey, go ahead and compress all of the pictures in my entire presentation. I like 96 points per inch, the email size, what they recommend for email. Click OK and save your file again. I do always save it, in the original format if I've got plenty of disk space. Another great time to do this is if you're trying to fit it on a flash drive, because it'll make it, again, much, much smaller. Merge shapes. Merge shapes is new with PowerPoint 2013, although there was an add-on you could use before. If you put a couple of the basic shapes, and you'll see here your basic shapes, some of them, in your presentation, and you need to create your own new shape, what you can do is, like I've inserted a rectangle and 2 circles into this, and select all 3. Click on one, maybe use your shift key and click on the second and the third, so they're all selected, and click on merge shapes. One of the options is combine, and it would look like that, and there's some other options you might want to play around with. So again, merge shapes, a very nice feature in PowerPoint 2013. All right, videos. Now, we have had the ability for a very long time to insert a video in our PowerPoint, and if you do that, keep in mind that you'll need to keep the file for the video available when you're showing your PowerPoint. So it is a separate file. But in the past, you had quite a limited number of file formats you could use. Now we have all of these different file formats. So if you've got your file in any one of those formats, including SWF or MPG, AVI, you can do insert video on my PC, select your file, and it'll show when you get to that slide. Audio, same thing. For a long time you've been able to insert audio and audio on my PC. New file formats though. A couple of other things you can do, we're going to look at some more on the next slide. You can insert online video. You can insert online audio. And online audio, what that will let you do is it'll actually let you look through a collection of Microsoft audio to insert, including not just sound effects, but actually music or recordings or whatever to put into your presentation. The third option, record audio. If you want narration, you don't have to record it with some other tool. If you've got a microphone attached to your computer currently, you select record audio. You can record the audio to go along with your slides instead of bringing it in from audio on my PC. All right, if you do insert online video, these are your current choices. Now, these are my current choices, I should say. I do use Facebook, and I was able to connect to Facebook with my Office. I do use OneDrive, which is, again, the Microsoft Cloud Storage, and it knew that, so it put that there. So I can grab a video from one of those if I'd like, but the one that most people use is YouTube. So if you want to insert a YouTube video, you can search for it by typing in enough words to find it, and then when you show your video, again, you will have to be online, the YouTube video will play when you get to that slide. You can also paste an embed code for a video. There are a lot of sites that offer that, including YouTube, but it's much easier just to use the YouTube. Now, another option, I'm sorry, let me go back. Another option up here is screen recording. And this is completely brand new in the last month or two. If you click on Insert Screen Recording, what that will let you do is make a recording of your screen and what you are doing. It'll follow your mouse, and you can talk and describe what you're doing. So you can demonstrate how to do something on your computer. Now, if you do click on Screen Recording, you can get a little red dotted line which you can drag any size on your screen. You're going to get a little toolbox up here, and you can click on Record, and that will start your recording, and it'll actually do a little countdown like 3, 2, 1. By default, it will record your audio if you've got a microphone, and most laptops have a microphone. It'll record your pointer. You can turn those off if you want. You can reselect your area if you don't like the area you've selected, but once you click that red record, it will record it, and when it's finished, it'll save it as a video file, and it will put it in your PowerPoint. By the way, you can also download it if you need it as a pure video file. Wonderful, wonderful tool if you are trying to demonstrate how to do things on a computer, something I do a lot. All right. Here, I have paused I have been working on the recording for a little while, and I'm finished with it. All you do is put your mouse kind of in the front center. There is a keyboard shortcut, but I never can remember it. But if I put my mouse right up here, I'll get the little blue square, and I can stop the recording. Presenter mode. Okay, presenter mode has been around, but it has some nice new options, and if you're not using it, it's a pretty cool thing to use. What you do is you simply drag your mouse kind of in the lower left-hand corner, and you'll get a little faint toolbar. And if you click on that guy right there, you'll get the ability to put this laser pointer that I'm using, or a pen, or a highlighter. If you click on the magnifying glass, it'll do a white area to show emphasis on a particular item. By the way, to be showing your presentation, you need to click on the little icon that looks like that in the lower right-hand corner. Now I'm going to go ahead and do it since I'm in a live PowerPoint, and I'm going to go ahead and click on my magnifying glass. You'll see it lets me magnify. I'll click on that. That lets me show all my slides. And if I click on this, I'm on laser pointer. If I switch it over to pen, by the way, I can change the color if I want. But if I switched it over to pen, now I could do something like, there's the zoom tool. I'm going to go back down here. If I switch to highlighter, I could say, hey, that's how you get to the options. Or if I come back again, I'm going to change it back to, I'm going to erase all the ink. You don't have to. And I'm going to change it back to laser pointer. Another thing you have from there is presenter view. And that lets you see your current slide and your next slide, and any notes. And the presenter view icon is right there. And when you're finished with presenter view, if you don't want it anymore, you click there to turn it back off. Pick up where you left off. This is also handy if you do something that is not recommended and have a lot of slides. I was working on slide 30 in this particular case. I saved my file, I closed it, I opened it back. It went to slide 1, but a little pop-up came on the side and said, hey, you want to go to slide 30 where you were? So I find that very handy. The Eyedropper tool. This is new in 2013. If you have a color you want on your screen, in this case I picked a green color, you can click on the Eyedropper tool and it becomes one of the recent colors and you can use it for other items. Very similar to the old Windows Paint eyedropper. Animation. Now there's so much you can do with animation. I have actually been using some animation. You've seen a few things do some twittering and flying around in this presentation, but animations, there are lots of new animations and lots of new effects and things you can do with it. But if you have any item, it can be text or picture, and you click on it and you click on animations, you will see all of the choices. You will also see the animation pane option. Definitely recommend you turn that on, and then you will see over here all of the animations you have on the current slide, what's going to happen first, how long things are going to happen, what's going to cause things to happen. Here's an on-click start, how long that thing's going to happen. I've used split in this case. We do a face-to-face class on animation, but you can't not mention animation when you are talking about advanced PowerPoint. And there's my little animation on my star. Another pretty cool option is called Smart Art, and it's available across all of Office, but I just wanted to demonstrate Smart Art. What I did was I typed in some names. These are actually some CCIT folks, an old piece of an organization chart. Kevin has Deb as a direct report. Deb has Randy. Randy has Kat, and so forth. So I used bullets to get them in the right places. Then I highlighted the whole string of text, right-click on it, and convert to Smart Art. And I've got all these choices. Now, the choice that we'll take and turn this into an actual organization chart is hierarchy, and the very first one. And here's what you get: an org chart. Pretty cool. So take a look at Smart Art. You might find it helpful. Another thing new in Office 2013, all across Office, is apps. And you can go to the store and look for apps. So I did that with my PowerPoint, and the app I thought was kind of interesting was the Word Cloud app. So I turned that on, and then I clicked under my apps, and I saw Word Cloud, and I clicked on it, and it let me take a string of text and turn it into that. So take a look at apps. There's lots of cool apps. They're coming out all the time. Another feature, not new, but very handy, is the photo album feature. If you do insert photo album, you can grab a set of pictures and you can grab them from a folder on your computer, and you can maybe click on one, use the shift key and click on the last, or use the control key and pick and choose. But once you've selected all of your pictures and you click on the create button, it will make a slide for each picture. You can do things like add musical background and turn it into a really pretty slideshow if that's what you like. And you don't have to put pictures. You could put anything that's a JPEG. All right, transitions. I've been showing you the 47 new transitions and a few of the older transitions as we've been doing this presentation. My 4 favorite new ones are origami, airplane, crush, and curtains. And that's the origami, that's the curtains. Now, you'll notice on this slide I have something a little different. I have a background picture, and I'm going to show you in the next slide how to do that. All right, so if you got a picture that you want to use sitting on your computer, if you click on Design and Format Background, you're going to get this. And this is, again, all of these formatting options will pop up. You can get them by pressing Control-1 or double-clicking or right-clicking on an item. It depends on the item. But you can say Insert Picture from File, and I went and found this balloon picture and went ahead and put it in the background. And I can apply it to all backgrounds or just the current one. All right. Another item under Design is all of your themes. So you can start out with just a plain no template PowerPoint and say Design Theme and pick any one of these themes. Not new, but there are some new ones, but in general that feature is not new. What is new in PowerPoint 2013 is now you can change the color of your theme. So if you, instead of wanting green curtains, you wanted blue or pink, you can select a different color. You can select different fonts. You can select effects or background styles. And here are some of the effects available with that green one that I had selected when I did this screenshot. So take a look at the themes. You may find that you like those better than the built-in templates. Okay, the Shift key. Now this is true across all of Office. The Shift key is a magic key. If you're trying to draw a line, if you did, that was the basic shape you picked was line, and you're having a little trouble, it wants to go up or down and not be perfectly horizontal or vertical, you can hold down the Shift key and that will make it go straight. If you're trying to draw a perfect circle, a nice round circle, the only basic shape is oval, but to make the oval into a nice round circle, hold down the Shift key and it will be round. Same is true with a rectangle. If you hold down the Shift key, it becomes a square. All right, if you press the Enter key to get a blank line, and you were in the middle of some bullets and you don't want a bullet, you can hold down the Shift key while you're pressing Enter and you won't get the bullet. You can also, of course, select multiple objects on a slide at the same time by holding down the Shift key. Or you've got a graphic and you want it to have the correct proportions, you can use the Shift key while you're resizing it. So the Shift key, magic key. All right, what I have here is a video that I inserted from YouTube just to show you how that's going to look. And I don't know if I can get my mouse to go on top of it. Let me come back down here and turn this off. Yeah, now I can. Okay. And you'll see here it is, my presentation. You're not going to be able to hear it because I don't have I'm using the headset. Okay, but I'm going to stop it. But anyway, so you can stash a video right there in there, and there's my 136. That's how long that one would last. So it would be reasonable to show to you if I were going to show it to you. All right, and let me, oops, I'm sorry. Go down to the next slide. Okay, I don't know what that is. Okay, the next slide I wanted to show you would be a great sample of an animation, and you'll notice that when I went to the slide, this little orange banner popped up, and what it wants is for me to ask you, in what year was the Clemson Tiger Paw designed and used for the first time? And once we get the answer established in the class, if I touch a key on the keyboard, I have this animation with the answer set where you have to touch a key or click on your mouse. I'm going to go ahead and click on my mouse. The answer will pop up, and the tiger paw will come on the screen. And it'll actually go off the screen too. So we're going to take a look at that. Now I'm going to press the escape key and get out of my presentation. And I'm going to go ahead and click on this because that's where the animation is, and go to Animations, Animation Pane. And these are all the things that happened in this presentation. First of all, the first option was I had the scroll selected, and I did fly in, so it flew in, that orange scroll flew in, and it happened with previous, which means it happened at the same time that I started the slide. The second one was it did a pulse, so after it flew in, this little orange did a little pulse thing. That happened at the same time, so it flew in and it pulsed at the same time. The pulse lasted 50 seconds. Let me go back to the first one. Notice the fly in has effect options. The pulse is gray, no effect options. So some of these have options, and if I click on the options, I could have had it fly in from the bottom, which is what I did, from the bottom left, from the left, got a lot of different options on that one. Now, one other thing, if I have an animation that's set up on the scroll, I'd already done the first one. I wanted to do the second one. If I just grabbed it, it would erase the first one. So if you want to do a second animation, you'll have to do add animation, then you get all the same choices. So I did 2 animations on that scroll. Next, the next 2 animations were on the text box. So let me go ahead and click the text box. And you'll notice the first one, instead of saying at the same time as the previous, I said on click. So I wanted to wait till we answered that question to touch a key to make the words appear. And you'll notice I used fly in for that one too. I'll tell you what I actually did. I clicked on the scroll, and there is an animation painter. I clicked on that, and it gave me a little paintbrush, and then I clicked on the 1970. So I have the exact same 2 animations on the 1970 that I had on the scroll. All right. The next thing was my tiger paw, and let me use my zoom out a little bit so you can see it. I started and I put my tiger paw in the scratch area, and you can do that. I do that a lot. I put all the pictures I might want to use in the scratch area and then drag them in as I'm deciding on them. Now, the very first animation I put on this is called a custom path, and this is what it looks like when you're looking at all of your animations. It's right down there, and it let me drag it wherever I wanted it to go. Let me specify how long I wanted it to take to go there, 2 seconds. I said I want to do that as soon as we're finished putting in the 1970, so it's after previous. There are options on that, all kinds of options. The second option I put was grow shrink, and you remember after the tiger paw went up there, it did a little growing, and there's all kinds of options on that. If I wanted it to be huge, I could change that. And then the last thing it did was fade. Now, one thing you're going to notice, let me go ahead and click on this. If I wanted to add animations to that, I would click on it and come up here. There are entrance, emphasis, and exit animations. The fade is an exit. In other words, it goes away. It exits the screen. I used the fly in on the banner. I wanted that to appear on the screen. It started out not there, and I made it go there. So those are the 3 major categories on your animations: entrance, emphasis, and exit. Additionally, you have motion paths, and motion paths are down here, and you can make it go in a straight line, a curly, or however you want to draw it line, a circle, a turn. So you have quite a few. Again, we do an entire class on animations, but definitely an interesting way to do advanced features on your PowerPoint. All right, the next thing I'd like to show you is in Word. I'm sorry, before I do Word. I'm going to go ahead and open a completely new PowerPoint. So I'm going to do File, and New, and Blank. And I'd like to show you the screen recorder. Let's see, what's it called? Screen recording. So I'm going to call screen recording on the next slide. Okay. So I'm going to press the Enter key to get a new slide, and I'm going to right-click on it and give it a blank layout. Now I've got Insert selected. I'm going to pick Screen Recording just to show you how this works. And notice I've got this cross. It's wanting me to select the size I want. And I'm going to do like right there. I don't need the whole screen for this. And I'm going to click record. Notice audio and pointer are turned on, so I'm going to click on record. And it's going to give me a couple of seconds. Okay, so I am now recording. And what I'd like to do is show you how to remove the background. I've got my picture selected in my picture tools format, and I'm going to do remove background. I'm going to drag my box around my tiger paw, keep changes, and now I've got a tiger paw with transparency. I'm finished recording. I'm going to stop recording. Now let's go back to my PowerPoint. And here's the one. Alright, so now you'll see I've got this little video in here. And if I were to show this, let me show it. Go to the next slide and click on the little triangle. I know you can't hear the talking because it's coming out of a different speaker, but you can see what I was doing. You can see I was a little jerky. It's probably better to go a little slow and smooth when you're doing this. But you see the video, and if I want to pause or stop the video, I can click right there. So, pretty cool option, screen recording. All right,